Pardon the interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. I am back in Boston to cover tonight's Game 5 of Mavs-Celtics.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. I'll be covering it from my basement, where I'll watch at least one quarter live, fall asleep on the couch, then catch the highlights when I walk the dog at 5 in the morning.
That's good. You know, I missed the opening for that gig. I missed that. I entirely missed the stay in my basement opening when that gig was, available.
Yeah, well, I got it. I mean, I heard it was coming around, so I put in a bid about 3 months early so that I could get that. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, the Mavs try to force a Game 6. The Oilers rout the Panthers, and the Dodgers are down two big names. But we begin today with the U.S. Open at Pinehurst #2, which Bryson DeChambeau won and Rory McIlroy lost. McIlroy missed two short par putts in the last 3 holes, and DeChambeau made a tremendous up and down from a long bunker on 18. Wilbon, we both watched intently. Would you rather start with the man who won or the man who didn't?
Tony, I guess I need to start. I think it's always fairer to start with the person who won. Because you had to do something to win. You had to make some plays. I don't care what the sport or what game of the series. You had to do something to win. So cheers. Cheers to Bryson DeChambeau, because he hit some fabulous shots, including that blast out of the sand to really cement the win. But my thoughts are with Rory and those 2 missed putts. And feel for him, as you know, because we were on the phone going back and forth. I'm rooting for Rory. I could not believe he missed both those putts. Tony, you know I'm not much on statistical, nonsense. But this is not nonsense. Rory McIlroy this season has had like 496 putts inside 4 feet. And he made that said putt, 496 times. He's 100 for 100. 100% never missed until those 2. He makes those 2, he wins his second but his second career U.S. Open. So I am stuck with that. You and I play enough golf. You don't have to be a pro. You don't have to be scratch. You know what it's like playing with your friends on a Saturday afternoon when you want to make that putt and it's 4 feet and you know you should make it. And I'm going to use the word, Tone, you choke. Because Rory choked on both those putts. He makes them his whole career all the time. Made him earlier in the day, in the tournament, all weekend. But he missed those. And when you make or miss counts, he choked. And I feel bad for him. I'm going to root for him next week. And it didn't change anything. And it doesn't really change his career. Yes, you're missing that trophy on your mantle. But wow, I'm stuck with that.
Yeah. So I will concede right off the bat that I rooted for Rory. And I rooted for Rory for 2 reasons. One, because I think he has a far better chance of being an all-time great than DeChambeau does. And 2, because DeChambeau took the Saudi money, and I am opposed to that. But let me give DeChambeau credit for a lot of the things he did. He made a great par save on 8. He made a great birdie on 10 after Rory had birdied. After he bogeyed 12, he came right back with a birdie on 13. And the shot that he hit out of the bunker on 18 is going to go down in golfing lore. It's one of the greatest shots ever to essentially close out a U.S. Open. But to me, Mike, Rory McIlroy lost this tournament more than DeChambeau won it. He had 3 bogeys on the last 4 holes. On the 2 par 3s, he didn't get on the green on his tee shot on 15 and 17. On the 2 par 4s, 16 and 18, he didn't get on the green in his second shot, and he missed those putts. Now, the second one was a slider, but the first one was absolutely straightforward. And if he makes either of those putts, Mike, either one, it totally changes the complexion of the tournament, because then DeChambeau has to get up and down to tie to get to a playoff, not to win. It gave DeChambeau a cushion. It took away some of the pressure. Mike, as you know, in real time, the note I made to myself was, is this a career ender? And that's too harsh. It won't be a career ender. But what if he doesn't ever win another major? This is not John Vandervelde. John Vandervelde was a guy. Rory McIlroy has 4 majors, and so I just think it's a bigger deal. I do. We'll move on. Let's go to the NBA in tonight's Game 5 in Boston. The Celtics got drummed in Game 4. They lost by 38 points. It was no game. Wilbon, before this series started, you picked Dallas to win it. If nothing else, they have new life. So how much carryover from Game 4 do you expect for both teams tonight?
Tony, I think there could be, but it's got to be early. I think we're going to know. So if the Celtics come out and, I don't know, go 2 for 10 and the building is jittery, for a place that is there's two pillars of the NBA, the Celtics and the Lakers. And the Celtics have this terrific team, and it's been terrific for a few years now. And everybody here is hoping, but not necessarily believing. I mean, that's the general mood of New England. And it has been, because they've been to the conference finals like 5 times in 6 or 7 years. So there's this sort of, let me hold on before I fall in love. And if they go 2 for 10 or 3 for 11 to start this game tonight, I think that there is some carryover. Now, look. All logic points to the Celtics winning. All logic. Any piece of, they're not going to continue to shoot threes this bad. Jason Tatum's going to have a terrific game. Drew Holiday's not going to be this bad. All those things point to the Celtics. Yet, I'm not, I texted you right after Friday night after that game and said, I got a feeling we're going back to Dallas, and I sort of do.
Yeah, and I understand that. I think Boston is going to win. I think Boston has proven itself to be the greater team throughout the entire season and throughout the playoffs. I'd point out, the playoffs are 3-1. They're not 2-2. They haven't been even. I believe Boston is going to win because they're a deeper team, and I believe they're going to win because Kyrie Irving has been miserable in the city of Boston, shooting 13 of 37 and 0 for 8 from 3. And I think that stuff is important. But I also have to allow for the fact that Boston has been shaky at home even in the playoffs.
Yeah.
They were beaten once by Miami at home. They were beaten once by Cleveland at home. They should have been beaten in Game 1 by Indiana. I think they're going to be able to throw off a 38-point loss. I don't think that's going to matter.
I agree with that.
But I think that Dallas can look at a 38-point win and be relatively confident. There's a statistic, and I know you don't like statistics, but this is actually a good one because it makes the point that you're going to want to hear. In the last 5 quarters that these two teams have played, Dallas has outscored Boston 151 to 105. And that feels like a course correction to me. It does. It feels like
Tony. Yeah, it is. Ooh, that's man. I like that. Thank you for throwing that my way, that bone. I may, use that later on tonight, Countdown. Like the Mavericks, the Oilers were down 3-0. And like the Mavericks, the Oilers posted a blowout at home in Game 4. Connor McDavid scored his first goal of the series and added 3 assists as Edmonton beat Florida Saturday 8-1. Panthers goalie Sergei Bobrovsky got the hook after giving up 5 goals and 17 shots. It's just one win for the Oilers, Tone, but do you find how Edmonton won to be significant?
So I'm going to discount the 8-1. That's a rout, and you can get rid of that. It's much easier to lose an 8-1 game than a 1-0 game in overtime. I don't worry about that. What I would worry about is Bobrovsky. Okay? In the first game in Edmonton scored 2 goals in the third period. Now, they didn't beat Florida, but maybe they dented Bobrovsky's armor a little bit because he got the hook after a period and a quarter when he gave up 5 goals. Mike, the last 23 shots that Edmonton has put on Bobrovsky, he's allowed 7 to go in. This is a big deal if you are Edmonton because goalies are extremely important. Now, you can go the other way on this, and you can say, okay, but that was in Edmonton. In Florida, the Panthers have been terrific. They won the 2 games by a combination of 7-1, and Bobrovsky has been spectacular. So maybe, so you don't have to worry because this is not a game in Edmonton, and you might even think to yourself, 8-1, they bagged the limit. They're not going to get any more goals. So that's the thinking that I have.
Yeah, Tony, I mean, it really is a lot like the NBA Finals. These two championship series have so many similarities, parallel tracks. Except the one difference between the two sports is so enormous, goaltending. And so the question is, to me, it's a simple question. Do you believe in Bobrovsky, right? In the NBA tonight, Game 5, and I should mention, going back for a second, do you believe in Luka's ability to control himself and play actual defense? So it's on Luka, all right? This series is on Bobrovsky. Do you believe that he's been dented, as you raise a legit question? Or I'm sort of like, as a guy who's rooting for Edmonton, I'm like, okay, Bobrovsky's been great the whole playoffs. He's returning home. He got pulled. He can just sit there and get some perspective, and he's going to be lights out again. That's what I sort of fear tomorrow night in Florida. You know, fear, because I'm rooting for Edmonton.
That's what I think. Yeah, no, I understand your fear. I mean, I just think he's been so great in that gym
terrific.
That he's going to be great again. Let's take a break.
Yeah.
Coming up, the Dodgers lose both Mookie Betts and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. How disruptive will this be?
Mookie shouldn't be out of anybody's lineup. Did Ronel Blanco deserve a chance to go for a second no-no of the season?
Just want to go back to Rory for a second, because we both feel bad about that. But you can't bogey 3 of the last 4, Mike. You can't.
No.
You just can't do that.
Nope. And you can't miss those 2 putts when you're 496 out of 496.
So, yeah.
Time to find out what's gassing up the masses in mail time. Let's see what's first. Let me go to my glasses here. Here we go. The Dodgers losing both Mookie Betts and Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Big deal, little deal, no deal.
Oh, it's a big deal, Tony. It's a big deal. I mean, just in Betts alone, this fractured left hand, it comes, you know, sort of up and in, and is totally a fluke thing. Betts was having an MVP season. And in a roster that's just loaded, he's having an MVP season. And if you look at the Dodgers, you can make the case, okay, you can have Philly, you can have the Yankees, you can have anybody you want. I'll take the Dodgers, in large part because of Mookie Betts. Yamamoto, he's going to be out. The 2 of them, the LA Times is saying it could be weeks, if not months. This is a big deal because, Tony, even let's just say they get back, I don't know, in August. And I would think Betts could wear a pad or something and get back sooner, but let's just say they're out for a while. The question is, are they going to be themselves in October? Will they play themselves back into the form they're in now by October when it matters? Because you don't need to win 105 or 107. That doesn't matter. But can you get back to where you were? Big question.
Yeah, let me just clarify one thing. It's Mookie Betts that the LA Times report said could be weeks, could be months. It's him specifically. And it's a real big deal to me depending on how long they are out. You're right about Betts is the best all-around player on the Dodgers because he actually plays defense. He's a shortstop. And Ohtani is not actually on the field. Betts is batting .304, and if I have this correct, he is in the top 10 in all of baseball in batting average, hits, and on-base percentage. So if he's actually out months, that is a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Yamamoto, what he did, he got tagged. First inning he ever pitched for the Dodgers, he gave up 5 earned. That was in a game in Korea, if you remember, at the beginning of the season.
Yes, I do.
Since then, it's fabulous. 2.84 ERA, 19 earned in 73 innings, and a 6-1 record. And that's a big deal because Clayton Kershaw is still not with the team, and Walker Buehler 1-4 so far. Let's go to the next one. Ronel Blanco already proved he could finish a no-hitter. So are you okay with his manager yanking him after 7 on Sunday?
I'm never okay with it. It's 98 pitches. Blanco says, you know, he was okay with it because he didn't think he could finish. Anyway, Tony, but talk about big deal, little deal, no deal. It's a big deal. Only 5 guys have 2 no-nos in one season. 6 if you count Halladay because he was in the postseason. The others are regular season. So, I mean, that's a distinction. And baseball needs starting pitchers. These used to be the stars of baseball, and now people go out and get them like they're just lunch meat. And you know what makes me crazy? These managers who go out there when somebody's got a no-no in the 7th or 8th and just says, "Yeah, shut it down for me." But the Astros have so many pitchers injured, and again, he had gone 98 pitches and said, "I'm okay with it." So Tony, I'm going to back off this one time. I usually don't back off. I'm usually angry about it. I'm going to let this one slide for the most part.
So it's 98. I thought it was 94, but it's in either case, it's over 90. to
Over
that
90.
point. I think you need a certain amount of context here. The Astros have lost 2 pitchers already to Tommy John. All right, the guy had thrown over 90, and the manager is acting out of self-preservation because he can't lose another pitcher. He doesn't want to have, it's a very, very thin staff. The 5 guys that you talked about are Johnny Vandermeer, obviously, because he had 2 in a row, Allie Reynolds, Virgil Trucks, Nolan Ryan, and Max Scherzer. That's a pretty elite list. Like you, I normally want to see a guy get a chance to get the entire no-hitter.
Yes.
And especially in this case, because it could have been 2 in the same season. But again, given the context and given the fact that there was no objection, given the fact that Blanco used to work at a car wash, I think things are pretty good for him right now. Enough email. Let's take one last break. Still to come, the Yankees make a decision about the future of Garrett Cole.
And Angel Reese gets a flagrant 1 for what she says was a basketball play. Hey, this is every day? Really? This is every day with, Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark? Every day? Really?
Yeah, sort of a standing headline. Next year, they're just going to play all 40 games against each other. Happy time, people. Happy 31st birthday, Nikita Kucherov. The Tampa Bay Lightning right wing led the NHL in scoring this season with 44 goals and 100 assists. Both Kucherov and Connor McDavid had 100 assists and became only the 4th and 5th players ever with 100 assists, joining Mario Lemieux and Bobby Orr, who did it once, and the great Wayne Gretzky, who did it ever with 100 assists, joining Mario Lemieux and Bobby Orr, who did it once, and the great Wayne Gretzky, who did it 11 times. Kucherov is a finalist for the Hart Trophy this season and has already won the Hart, the Art Ross, and the Ted Lindsay trophies. Kucherov has been on 2 Stanley Cup winners in Tampa Bay and has played in 5 All-Star games.
Kucherov's going to the Hall of Fame. Let's just get that straight. But whenever we mention Gretzky and his numbers, Tony, I get totally distracted because the Gretzky numbers make the other greatest players. It's like the Wilt numbers. It's like, get out of here. Here's a record book for him, and the rest of you people can check into this other one way down. Gretzky 11 times, really? Come on
11.
now. 11.
11.
Yeah, have some
Happy
of that.
anniversary, Ted Williams. This is posthumous, but on this day 64 years ago, at 41 years and 291 days old, the splendid Splinter hit the 500th home run of his illustrious career. Williams finished with 521 homers, and it's important to remember that Williams fought in World War II and in Korea and lost about 5 full baseball seasons doing so. Williams hit over 300 in all but one of his 19 seasons with the Red Sox and is the last player to hit over 400 in a season. Even today, people talk about Williams as the best hitter ever. He was so great that there is no recency bias working against him as it does to so many bygone stars in other sports.
It better not work against him or Willie Mays. Tony, as you know, because Mays was your idol as a kid,
Yeah.
Williams and Mays, they're going to hit more than Ruth in terms of home runs. Willie Mays lost 2 years, not as many as Ted Williams did to service for his country, but the two of them are going north of 750 if they don't have that time served. You can't touch them. I don't care how big and strong and faster and all these things that athletes are supposed to be. They're not Williams and Mays. Get out of here.
Happy trails to the Chicago Sky in Sunday's game against the Indiana Fever. The Fever won by 8 and moved ahead of your Sky, Wilbon, in the standings. But most of the attention is going to one play. In the third quarter, Angel Reese of the Sky was whistled for a foul to the head of the Fever's Caitlin Clark while Clark was driving toward the basket. Upon review, the officials upgraded the call to a flagrant 1. After the game, Reese described the foul as, quote, a basketball play, unquote, explaining she was trying to make a play on the ball. And Clark agreed, saying, quote, it's just part of basketball, it happens, unquote. Clark finished with 23 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists.
Yeah, it was a basketball play. It was. It's clearly she's going for the ball like she said. And it's a flagrant 1. You can be both things. Yeah. Just because you're making a basketball play doesn't eliminate the possibility of a flagrant foul. So the officials did the right thing, and both players were right in their assessment of what happened.
There is history with the two of these players.
Yes.
There's history from college, and it's carrying over into the WNBA. And every time they're on the court together, and I'm sure you feel the same way, I want to watch them, and I want to see if there are dirty plays or flagrant plays or just great plays. And it is likely to go on for a few years now, I would think,
while.
with Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark. Let's go to the big finish if we could. Yankee
do
ace Garrett Cole will make his season debut Wednesday against the Orioles. Is that significant?
He's been great in minor league rehab starts, but the key word there is minor league, or key words. Katie Ledecky qualified for the Paris Olympics in the 400 free. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are your thoughts. She's local for us. She's from Bethesda,
Yep.
Maryland. We root
Stone
for her.
Ridge High School.
She's the greatest female swimmer of all time.
Yes,
the Red
she
Sox set a franchise record with 9 stolen bases in a game. Are you impressed?
Yes, and I don't think of the Red Sox as a speed merchant team. They're power, not speed, so this comes out of nowhere to me. Birmingham Stallions shut out Wade Phillips' San Antonio Brahmas for the UFL Championship, whatever that is. How'd they do it?
I don't know, because I was watching the Open. I didn't know the game was on, but I'm sad for Wade because I want him to win. Last one, Paul Skeens on the mound tonight against the Reds. Are you intrigued?
I'm always intrigued by Paul Skeens. And by the way, he's, sort of unhittable at home in PNC, which is where this game will be taking place. So we'll see.
We're out of time. We'll try and do better the next time. And I'm Tony Kornheiser.
I'm Mike Wilbon. Same time tomorrow, Knuckleheads. NBA Countdown, 7:30 Eastern on the Deuce, 8 Eastern on ABC. So you better watch. You got 2 for the price of 1.
Do you change your
Now.
answers or do you say the
Here's
same
sports.
thing?